Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi. To my right, the Swami George Abraham. We have a 2-hour show. We're going to bring it to you in 30 minutes. Let's go to Spotlight PIAA Wrestling Finals 3A, 5th place, Liam of Oakloss, Seneca Valley, 215-pound class. Only 2 losses this year. 7th place, Tyler Chappell, Seneca Valley, in 113-pound class. High school basketball, PIAA top scorers, boys, Mike Wells, Newcastle Monster Game, 41 points. Joseph Roth of Elwood City, 28. Tate Bailey of Karn City, 18. Luke Kramer of Karn City, 18. And for the girls, Madeline Boyer of Knock, 22 points, giving her 1,000 for her career. She's the second girl in Knock history to go over 1,000 points.
That's quite an achievement. 3 balls made it a little easier, but still, you got to put the ball in the basket.
You got to do it.
Absolutely.
Elena Rocco of North Catholic, 23. Daisha Lewandowski of North Catholic, 19.
Those two are quite a pair. I mean, they can do it all, and then they're going to get some people back next year and be even stronger.
The whole starting lineup returns, plus those 2 injured girls.
I know.
A girls bowling Western Pennsylvania Team Finals Championship, Freeport 2. Butler 1. Congratulations to Freeport. Both teams will advance to the Pennsylvania State Championship in Lancaster. High school hockey quarterfinal game, Seneca Valley 4, Mount Lebanon 1. Seneca Valley goalie Jonathan Nichols had 25 saves. North Allegheny defeated Bethel Park. And then in the semifinals, Seneca Valley 2, North Allegheny 1 on a winning goal by forward Andrew Davis. This denies the Tigers they were going for a three-peat. So Seneca Valley now will go against winner of Pine Richland and Peters Township in the quarterfinals. Pine Richland defeated Central Catholic 2-1 in overtime. So you have a neighborhood brawl going on here.
Yeah, that rivalry is already strong, let alone playing for a title.
And I'm sure, and they at 18-4, they'll qualify for the state
depends how big the bracket is. But it's amazing the hockey has just grown and grown and grown around here, and it's
tremendous.
Yes.
And Seneca Valley 13-9, looking for a championship against Pine Richland, and that should be quite a battle. Track and field, Butler C.J. Singleton, Notre Dame recruit, earned All-American honors by placing 6th in the mile run at the National Indoor Championship in New York City. And in honors, Butler wrestling coach Scott Stoner named the WPIL Wrestling Coach of the Year.
Absolutely. I only said it on here 100 times. I'll say it 101. What he did at Butler to take that thing from its infancy to where he has it now was a masterful job.
Outstanding. Coaching news, Slippery Rock High School girls coach Amber Osborne. She resigns after 7 years, 106 wins, and a District 10 title in 2018.
Yeah.
She's a big family, 5 kids.
Yeah, I don't know this because I haven't spoken to her probably since the COVID, maybe once. But she has some kids are getting older, and I think she'd like to see them play.
Absolutely. And BC3 coach Dick Hardtongue resigns as men's and women's coach at BC3 after 41 combined years, 29 with the men and 12 with the women.
There's no words. I left him a message. Yeah, there are no words. I use this phrase rarely. They'll replace the coach.
Yeah.
Can't replace the man.
No, it was never about him. It was always about the program and the kids that he did a tremendous job there.
No, you can't care anymore, and that's what makes his leaving so difficult. You can replace him with anybody.
But not with that kind of dedication.
No.
And Butler's Joe Lewandowski, he steps down as Point Park men's coach after 7 years.
I don't know how he does. Like, the guy's amazing. Like, he's going day and night. I don't know, honestly.
Well, you're traveling from here to Pittsburgh every day.
And they play like in Indiana. Like they don't play locally like the PSAC and the PAC.
And he has a daughter playing college and Daisha playing high school at North Catholic.
Honestly, he used to make me tired telling me what he was doing.
Absolutely. Stories of the week. PIAA basketball playoffs. Girls in 3A. North Catholic 56, Lakeview 25. Next up, quarterfinals versus Forest Hills. In a 52-36 win over Penn Cambria, North Catholic coach Molly Rotman, it was her 500th win. And along with that, she has 10 WPL championships, 3 as a player also. So she has 13 championships. She's tied with Yogi Berra.
No, it's amazing. My one buddy's they were playing him. I said, "Don't look up," because it was at North Catholic. There's going to be so many banners going to psych you out. But no, they've earned this. It's obviously a program where she's a young lady. 500 is nowhere near where she's going to end.
And her first job, she was fired. She was a very young coach, and then she come on, went back as an assistant coach, and then took over there at North Catholic. She played for one of the greats in Don Barth.
Absolutely. I mean, that thing's not going anywhere. You saw that team; they're all back.
They're all
Forget
back,
it,
and not to mention some state championships thrown into the mix too.
Absolutely.
And in 4A, Knock finishes a great season, 22-4, their first ever WPL championship appearance. They lost to DeLone Catholic 34-28. A tough loss, George. After they took a 28 to 27 lead, and then DeLone shut them down with a 7-0 run.
How about this? We were in the same Little League team, the DeLone coach and I.
Yeah.
Almost 60 years ago. He has about 5 state titles. Their boys coach was an excellent. He was one of my mentors when I was in college. He was the coach at Shippensburg High School, as was the Southern Cal coach's father. But this is an excellent team, this DeLone. They have many state titles.
They're Knock head to toe with them,
Absolutely.
28-27, and just happened there. They got cold, and DeLone made a 7-0.
And ironically, he never played. So get
that
that
right?
out of your head that you can't be a good coach. I think it makes it easier, but it's certainly not a prerequisite.
And in girls 5A, it was Moon 54, Slippery Rock High School 16. The Lady Rocks are just overwhelmed by Moon's swarming, pressing defense.
Well, let's address that. All the 5A teams in District 10 play up to avoid Villa. Now, that's fine. You get the gold at the district.
Then you run
Then
into
you go into the state championship, and you're playing up a notch, and it makes it harder than it would be. You still got Char Valley in that bracket.
Moon jumped on them, stunned them 12-0 right
in their home floor.
18-5 first quarter, and that was pretty much.
See, that's that double-edged sword. Yes, you get the fun of playing for 5A, title, but the bad part is when you go into the state, you take on a team that's much, much better.
And in boys playoffs, 5A, Newcastle 85, Central Mountain 34, and Mike Wells had 41. Next up, quarterfinals versus Penn Hills 25. Not a gimme game.
No,
Penn Hills with all those athletes.
It took Newcastle longer to get there than it did to get up 20. But no, they'll have to play against Penn Hills, as will the Laurel Highlands against Gateway. They're doubleheader at Robert Morris. You'd expect it too to replay, but how about in the East? It's Chester and Shippensburg. Yeah. It was just this tiny little school when I was there.
And I think for the Canes, don't look ahead at Laurel Highlands. Sitting there thinking about getting revenge for that 60-58 loss in the championship game.
Listen, anyone who takes Penn Hills for granted doesn't have a history book.
And in 3A, Avonworth 66, Elwood City 50. Elwood City finishes 22-4, their best season in school history, coming off a WPL championship. 2 of their players go over 1,000 points scoring this year.
Absolutely, and hats off to Avonworth. Remember Hermie Carmichael?
Yes.
He was a very good player at Seneca. He coaches LaRoche. His son is freshman in that team.
And in 2A, Old Forge 51, Carn City, 46. Carn City led 37-31 after 3, but got routed in the fourth quarter, 20-9.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. You don't know exactly what it is, but you would think the 3 quarters would be a precursor to the fourth quarter, but sometimes it doesn't happen. And
hey, as a coach, Sunday shooting just goes cold.
No,
and there's nothing you could do
or
about
they
it.
start banking them in or whatever. And sometimes you're there, you try timeout, you're helpless.
Carn City finishes another outstanding season, 20-8. In their first round game, it was Carn City 46, Penns Manor 45. Bailey had 18. So just another outstanding year.
Yeah, they have quite a tradition over there at Carn City. They're just good and everything.
Well, let's go to our NFL news, and finally, all this talk about who the Steelers getting quarterback, talking about Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Well, they settle on, they signed free agent quarterback Mitch Trubisky. on a 2-year deal. I don't know what the numbers are. Let's look at him, George. He was 29-21 as the starter for the Bears. Didn't win a playoff. 64 touchdown passes, but 38 interceptions.
Okay.
The Bears decided not to re-sign him.
Okay, 3 things happened to him. 1, the Bears, he had horrible coaching.
Yeah.
2, he had 3 coordinators in 3 years. And 3, they jumped up to get him. And generally, a fan base will be very, very impatient. You look like with Bush. If Bush isn't Ray Nitschke, Pittsburgh thinks they shouldn't have jumped up. They jumped up for him. Now remember, he only played a year and a half in college. He's from Mentor, Ohio. He didn't play in college a lot.
North Carolina.
Right.
His best year, his senior year.
Right.
And the only thing I want, did he get hit very hard when he's with the Bears? Because he said he's going to a team with a great defense.
No,
Hey, Mitch.
Listen.
I hope it'll be a great
The
defense.
national people
Yeah.
throw that around without backing it.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, and
last 4 playoffs, 140 points.
Yeah, I know it's just a terrible year. We've said it before. You give up 25 points a game, you're dead last in rushing defense.
Yeah.
You don't have a good defense. They get beat up along the line of scrimmage.
No. See, here's the only thing I don't like, and Al and I disagree on him, and we disagree on the kid from the Colts that they let go from North Dakota State.
Yeah.
He's a great runner.
Yeah.
Will they roll him out? Will they change some things? I mean, I hate to say that. I think he has to be better than Ben on one leg and one, half an arm.
And then again, I'm going to say something. Sometimes this stuff, mobile quarterback is so overrated at times.
Don't knock him out.
And the Steelers upgrading the offensive line. They signed Okorafor. They re-signed him to a 3-year deal, and then they signed a former teammate of Trubisky's from the Chicago Bears, offensive guard James Daniels.
Yeah.
So they're beefing up that offensive line. And now George taking Trubisky, this frees him up with the 20th pick to either take a defensive lineman or another offensive lineman or a linebacker.
That's what they need. I have a little bit of inside with the Bears. The kid from Shaders there, Holtz, is a tight end, and my buddy's his agent. The thing about this is, and as you say, I just hope that they didn't take Trubisky because he was the cheaper or cheapest of the choices. As long as they really believe he's the answer, I'm fine with it. But I don't like seeing decisions that always seem to be based on finance.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm looking at Trubisky, he's thinking, I'm going to sign this 2-year deal. It'll be a modest deal. Yeah. But if I have some big years, I want 25 million a year.
He's not working for nothing either. I saw the terms. I can't recall them right now.
Is he getting at least 10 a year?
It's around 8, I think.
I said that. And the other thing, all the mock drafts had the Steelers taking Malik Willis, which I didn't care for because terrific runner, but an erratic passer.
And he washed out at Auburn. There has to be some concern, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
So we're going to come back to some offensive linemen here, but now look who's coming back for season number 23. Tom Brady said he's going to return. He has unfinished business. He had a terrific year last year. He led the league in passing yards, touchdown passes. You know, George, they talk about mobility. He was the least touched, least sacked quarterback in the NFL.
He knows how to step up. He's not going out on you. He's not leaving the block.
And those guys know they better block for him.
They block for him, and he gets it out.
They're better than they would normally be with a different quarterback.
And he gets that ball out quickly. Obviously, he has all that experience, and that has to matter. But I heard a funny lady yesterday said, he tried being a parent for a month, and he saw hard, and he figured, I'll let guys knock my head off.
I watched him zip the ball around against the Rams. If you didn't know his age, you'd say, well, he must be, 29 or 30?
No, nothing in the arm.
Can't tell. No. So now this leaves Tampa open to bringing in some, maybe a free agent. I don't know if they have much room on their
I'll tell you what will help, I think. A couple guys that were on the fence knowing he's coming back, probably come back.
Well, they re-signed their best receiver to a nice deal.
Absolutely.
Hey, and then now all the crazy talk about Aaron Rodgers. Until last week, they were still talking about Aaron Rodgers coming to Pittsburgh. I heard someone on one of the talk shows say, well, you don't have to give up 3 number ones. You can give up 2 and you still be okay. He's just signed a 3-year deal, $150 million. And
103 up front.
And as I told you, he talked to Matt LaFleur about talking to his best friend and former offensive coordinator
Absolutely.
when they won
Tommy Clemens.
Tommy
Absolutely.
Clemens from
Absolutely.
McKees Rocks, played at Notre Dame.
Absolutely. Cannon High School.
Once I saw that, I said, he's signing with Green Bay.
Absolutely.
He's not going to LaFleur.
They got to find some way to
reason.
placate the wide receiver.
So I think Clemens comes back as quarterback coach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it was all in the plan. The thing about it is
now to get Devontae Adams.
they're going to franchise him, and he does not want the average of the top 5 receivers.
Let's go to another quarterback they'd been talking about in Pittsburgh. These pipe dream. Russell Wilson traded to Denver. Denver gets Wilson and a 4th-round pick back. I love what Seattle did. They get an okay quarterback, Drew Lock.
Yeah.
But look who else, George. They get defensive end Shelby Harris. I think he's Pro Bowl caliber. They get Pro Bowl tight end Noah Fant, a number 1
Absolutely.
from 2 years ago. They get 2 first-round picks,
Yeah.
2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick. And now Seattle has a total of 11 draft picks.
That looks like the deal that put the Cowboys over the top back in the day with
Herschel Walker.
Yes, sir. If you're rebuilding, you can't do much better. And he obviously didn't want to play there anymore.
Now they could look at adding another offensive lineman.
Sure.
And they want another running back. They got a good tight end. They'll fit the pieces in there.
Hey, let's say this: that league's tough, but that one with Denver, Kansas City, Oakland, and San Diego.
Look at that.
Yikes.
Hey, and then San Diego, they get Khalil Mack.
Absolutely.
And they get a shutdown corner in J.C. Jackson,
Yeah.
improving an area that hurt them last year. You saw how they lost to Kansas City.
Coach hurt him
in
the
that
most.
game.
He
hurt him the most.
Yeah.
He's on the gun this year. Hey, the Cowboys trade Amari Cooper. Didn't want to pay him. He goes to the Browns on a steal deal. They get a 5th and 6th-round pick, and then the Browns turn around and cut Jarvis Landry, saying that it saves them $60 million on the deal with him.
And I think that there was something. I think he got a little bit salty after he saw what Beckham went and did.
Yes.
And the Cowboys, they've given all their money to other guys. As we always say, at some point, there's only so much money in the pot.
If there's a team out there that needs a receiver, it's Baltimore.
I thought Cleveland. Mayfield gets blamed for everything. Part of it, he runs his mouth. But I'll tell you what, he did not have the best wideouts.
No.
On paper, 2 years ago he did.
Well, now he got to prove himself.
Absolutely.
He got his last year of his contract.
Absolutely.
It's show us what you can do if you want this big
they're
contract.
doing monopoly money. He's going to get $40 million if he has a good year.
And Indy trades quarterback Carson Wentz to the Washington. I hate even saying this name, Command. It took him 2 years to come up with this stupid name.
As bad as football.
The Fighting
team.
Commas.
They were using football team.
Now Carson Wentz has been highly maligned. I know he wasn't good in the play. Georgia had 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Now who does Indy replace him with? They bring back Jacoby Brissett. He was there. Garofalo's having surgery on his right shoulder. Do you want to take a chance on him? Or are they going to go with a draft?
You start messing with quarterback. See, I don't think a draft fits Indy because they're just about ready everywhere else. Great line, good running back, good defense.
The quarterback draft, we'll mention it. It's a very average year. Very average.
Well, the Pittsburgh people are delirious with their guy, Kenny Pickett. They think that, because he's from Pitt, there's this attitude. Well, he's from Pitt. Well, okay. Great. He had a great year. We were his biggest fans when they brought him back. But this is pro football.
But I've said it before. I take Sam Howell over him.
Yeah. Well, I know you like
runner,
Sam Howell.
strong. He takes hits, gets right back up, and goes into the huddle.
I don't think you can go wrong with either guy, but they're not, they're not like Oliver Luck.
Now, here's a controversial situation. Carolina is serious about Houston quarterback Deshaun Watson. In 2020, he was number 1, 36 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Oh, no, he's terrific. And I see ladies on Twitter already, why didn't we get, so I think this stigma, obviously, they didn't charge him because, as you know, it's similar with Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
They know they can't prove it. That does not mean he did or didn't do it. We weren't there.
And then Roethlisberger settled out of court.
Absolutely, that's and this guy the same. But I hear he doesn't want to play for Carolina. Does not.
Right? And then the any team that takes him, he's following up. He's going to get at least an 8-game suspension.
Oh, I'd say
Probably.
5. And I'll say this. So, on the field, you can't do much better because he's younger than those other guys.
Another guy out there, Jameis Winston.
Absolutely.
Do the Saints re-sign him?
Boy, the Saints, they went from looking like they were going to just get a quarterback. They had a good year last year considering all the
Till he got hurt.
problems. They had to play the kid from Notre Dame that night, had no chance. Yeah. But the problem is Brady coming back puts everything back.
They're under pressure to re-sign him.
Absolutely.
Now, look, here's the thing about Kenny Pickett. They measure his hands 8.5 inches. Burrow last year, they thought his hand was small. 9 inches. Was talking to Terry Hanratty over the weekend. His hand was measured at 9 3/4. So why do they make this a concern? And Pickett played in cold weather. It's about cold weather quarterbacks being able to hold on to the ball.
Two things have happened. One, guys have played well with smaller hands, as did the kid from the Bengals.
Yeah.
And two, these gloves are so good today.
Yes.
I think Pickett's going to play with a glove.
And he played in cold weather.
Absolutely.
And now, if you want a quarterback that got this big, strong, powerful arm, not very mobile, it's Carson Long in Nevada at 6'4", 230.
I always equated him with the guy for Buffalo, the great quarterback, Allen, but he doesn't move like him.
Now,
Size-wise.
to me, there are two sleepers in here. Bailey Zapp, Western Kentucky, 6'2",
Put the numbers
215.
up.
And Desmond Ritter of Cincy, 6'3", 210, who can run. He's not the best passer. He's decent, but he has that mobility.
And he
That's
has
what you're
that
looking
mold.
for.
That mold they're looking for. The guy that can get out of the pocket and
He
keep
could throw
and
on
tuck
the
it
run.
on 3rd and 2 and dust out of bounds. Yeah, I think he's a possibility. I'm not sure about the other guys.
Do any of
I
these guys
saw
go
Western
number one?
play.
Do any of them go number one?
Well, here's what happens many times. These teams, when they see someone grab a quarterback, they get goofy. Till someone grabs one, they'll stay with their sheet.
And there are a number of outstanding offensive linemen around there. Now, these first two guys, they won't be there for the Steelers. Akeem Ekwonu from North Carolina State, 6'4", 220. And the monster from Alabama, Evan Neal, 6'7", 350.
That
They're
guy's
gonna be-
320, right? You said 220.
I said he's 320.
I thought.
And Evan Neal at 6'7", 350. This monster.
Yeah.
These are road graders,
No,
these
they're not.
guys.
I have a funny story. One year they were down at the Senior Bowl, and one of those great guys was there, and Saban was there, and they were putting him through some drills. My buddy was down there. He's an agent, so he hears what they're talking about. And anyhow, the one guy does something. I guess he was just impressive as heck, and he had said something to it was Belichick was down there, and he said, "You're not going to be here when we pick." They know these guys are born.
Now the Steelers
right
may
away.
have a shot at Rashad Walker out of
Yeah.
Penn State, 6'6", 312, or Abraham Lucas out of Washington State, 6'7", 320.
Well, if they're there, they'll find them.
If they're there.
You know what I mean? They'll find if they're. These guys are so thoroughly scouted. No one's going to fall on. They know about them.
Someone asked me the other day, well, how do these guys get to the combine? I said, look, Roland Rivers from Slippery Rock got there, but defensive end for the Rockview.
Yeah.
I don't care who you play for. They'll find out about you, and you're going to get invited to go there.
And if you're not, you just have to keep buckling because so many of these players, because of the economics and because of the good players getting so much of the pie, there are a lot of late picks and free agents that make it.
Hey, George, let's move on to March Madness. A great time
Oh.
of the year. And the top seeds for the men, Gonzaga in the West, Arizona in the South, Baylor in the East, Kansas in the Midwest. So many great games that were on TV. You could name them, so many of them, outstanding games. And then for the women, South Carolina in the Greensboro, Stanford in Spokane, North Carolina State, Bridgeport, and Louisville in Wichita. And they're March Madness for the men coming to Pittsburgh this weekend.
Absolutely.
No Pittsburgh teams involved, men or women.
Yeah. And
in
the
March
Division
Madness.
III National Championship this weekend, female in Pittsburgh at Duquesne.
At Duquesne.
Yeah, quite a thing. With these games, you said it best. The
So
women,
many
what's
good-
not fair is NC State has the 2 seed, and guess they play in Stores. And they'll play Connecticut in a regional.
That's a home game for them.
It's a home game.
George, they're coming to Pittsburgh, and guess who's going to be there at 102 years of age?
Yeah, the
Sister
sister, I
Jean
thought-
from
she said-
Loyola Chicago, the Ramblers.
She says she's 102. She says it's better to wear out than rust out.
and she worked there for all those, since she's been there for 61 years as an academic advisor and as a team chaplain. Just a joy to watch her. It's hard to root against Loyola when you see her there on the
No,
sideline.
don't think they're not a dangerous underdog.
Yeah, they have a nice record. They play Ohio State. They're 25-7.
See, they were in Youngstown's League at one time.
Yeah.
They left. Then Butler left. Then Valpo left. But those teams are good. They went in Missouri Valley, and they called the coach in. They said, "Hey, coach, listen, here's how this is. We're going to give you a raise. No more guarantee games. We don't play guarantee games unless they cut." But they said, "You better win."
And what's nice, they're local players in March Madness. Butler's Ethan Morton out of Purdue. They're in the East Regional versus Yale. He had a real nice game against Iowa. They lost that championship. And then Gibsonia's and North Catholic, Sam Breen. She's at UMass. They're 26-6. They take on Notre Dame, 22-8. She averages 16.9 points a game, 10.3 rebounds. Both of them are former athletes of the year.
She's a star.
She's a star, 6'1" senior.
I'll give you a little gossip. UMass fired their men's coach about 10 days ago. They offered it to Archie Miller, and Archie didn't think the place was up to it facility-wise.
You know what? You go there, you make it, you build it up.
Yeah, that's
you get it up there. Hey, George, Major League Baseball, the holdout, whatever you want to call it, is over. But let me say this. I looked at the agreement. Nothing changes for the teams like the Pirates. It's 5 more years of the same stuff. The rich and the talented, they're going to get the players. For example, Freddie Freeman's out there from the world champion Braves. There are only 4 teams that can afford him. Maybe the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Red Sox. And so the threshold goes from $210 million to $230, then to $260. Then they have a 4th level in there, $290 million, which the owner of the Mets just shrugged his shoulders at. I mean, you could stop at $288 million.
Yeah.
The Pirates, nothing's going to change 60, for 5 years.
They've offered 3 times to the kid from Brentwood, the center fielder. He's like, you know how when you get a jail sentence and you mark the calendar every day? That's what he's.
All you got to know about this, the Pirate lineup, Georgia, it should be on a package of Swiss cheese. They got holes up and down that line.
First 4 are decent.
You can't even get a starting pitching staff put together right now.
First 4 hitters are decent. Other than that, it is what it is. They're going to spend $50 million, and the Red Sox and Yankees or whomever, they're going to spend $250. Who's going to win?
Let's talk about in the final minute here the best team in Pittsburgh, the Pens. Playoff preview. They had 4 tough games, Murderers Row. They beat Tampa Bay 5-1. They lost to Carolina 3-2. They lost to Florida 4-3, and then they beat Carolina 4-2. What I like about Sullivan, he's not afraid to shake the lineup, make some healthy scratches. The concern, George, is that their last 68 goals, 33 by the first line of Crosby, Gensel, and Rust, and a few by the second line with Malkin, and that's it. So they have some concerns there.
No, absolutely. You get more than that in the playoffs. Someone's going to have to step up, or they're going to be out early.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We've run out of time. We'll see you next week.
Level up your internet. Zoom Extreme from Armstrong gives you unlimited data at our fastest speeds available. That means unlimited gaming, unlimited streaming, and unlimited downloading with no fear of overage charges, delivered on our super reliable fiber optic network. But that's not all. Zoom's enhanced Wi-Fi provides complete coverage throughout your home to the devices that need it most, and it gets better each day. Take advantage of the best value in broadband. Zoom Extreme from Armstrong. The future is faster. The future is now.
No one plans for a plumbing emergency. If it happens, turn to the experts at Armstrong Comfort Solutions. Matt Mertz Plumbing is now part of the Armstrong Comfort family. Do you have a leaking pipe, a toilet backing up? When you need a plumber, you want an honest, licensed professional. We're available 24/7. Our plumbing experts can handle any need or emergency, including trenchless sewer replacement. Armstrong Comfort Solutions and Matt Mertz Plumbing, 2 great local companies coming together to better serve Western PA.